Hello, everybody, and welcome to this brand new episode of Music to Live For with Shanti. I'm your host, Shanti Perpellini. The summer break, it's over, and today we're going to talk with my friend Panda about violent dancing and mosh. So let's go!
Check this out. Music to live for with Shanti.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this brand new episode of Music to Live For with Shanti. I'm your host, Shanti Perpellini. I hope everybody's fine. Here in Basel, it's incredible hot, so you will see me drink a lot, stay hydrated out there. Guys, if you're watching this podcast episode on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel. It's something really easy, but will help my project a lot. And if you're listening to on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or other platforms, do the same. Follow and likes. Thank you very much. But going back to this episode, I'm here today with my friends from the old days of moshing. Panda, hi man, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks, Shanti. I'm happy to be here and happy to talk about the old mosh discussions and the whole mosh happenings and everything. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm really happy because it's a topic that I really want to bring on the podcast since quite a long time. We had some guests on the podcast, lead singers of hardcore bands, and when we just really connect on the topics. But I thought you were the right person to have on this platform and openly talk about this. And man, before we got really into deep in these topics, I'll let you introduce yourself for the audience.
Hey, so yeah, my name is Panda. I'm 34 years old. I'm living in Zurich, where it's hot as shit too. I'm just sweating right away. But yeah, I've been going to hardcore shows since 2007, so it's like 16 years now. And I've always been a really huge fan of moshing and it always fascinated me since the first time I saw it. And yeah, I am part of the SOSF, the Swing on Side crew, and we are all over Europe and US, and we are trying to keep moshing hard.
Yes, that's the reason. That's the mission. Well, as you said, you're already for a long time into the music scene, and this is how we connected. You were telling before that we were at the same concert in Ticino as well, in the south of Switzerland. But honestly, I remember you from one of the events in Zurich and in Basel. There was one of the first event I visited. One in particular, it was a show with Caliban, Evan Shelburne, and other greatest metalcore brand from that time. I think it was like this kind of Darkness of a Christmas tour or something like this. I just remember
that's old.
yeah, that it was a really, really crazy lineup. And I remember you and other friends that we have in common from music scene being there and really moshing like there's no tomorrow. I guess we were at the time we weren't many people doing that, honestly, in Switzerland, of course. It happens to me to go to Milan to see a concert. I remember, for example, Comeback Kid with the original lineup, and I oh my God, it was totally another dimension. But here in Switzerland, I remember there was a couple of dudes doing that, a couple of girls too. My girlfriend at that time, she was really into moshing and stage diving. And then there was the crew. I mean, we're gonna talk about that. There was a vegan straight edge crew that was really, really active in the mosh pit and creating also a kind of a mystic aura about the presence. But long story short, man, it's so incredible how music connect people. Every time I record an episode and I have the chance to talk with somebody I met through concert and through this kind of passion, and we notice that, oh man, it's already almost 20 years that we are in touch, or at least we know who we are. And I felt so blessed because you notice that it's not just a hobby. For me, as you are straight edge, I suppose it's considered also a lifestyle. It's something that is really present every day, and it's just amazing. Let's say
Yeah.
this is something really positive. And so let's open this Pandora box, or let's say
Yeah.
Pandora vase. I don't know what's the right term in English, but it's I call it like this because it's a quite controversial topics, because we are talking about a way of dance, a way of move, a way of interact with the crowd, that of course belong to a music scene that it's also very, very strong, very, very a music that really brings you from the guts. Let's say it's not something that normally you can stay just on the side and say, oh yeah, it's nice, you need to be there. But this is what's one of the first impression, where the first time I saw somebody doing mosh. And I remember being on the side, because in the beginning, maybe you are new on the concert, on the scene, but then you feel this necessity to do that, to move yourself. And this was for me the most fascinating part. Fun fact, the first kind of mosh I've seen, it wasn't on well, it was in a music video, but it wasn't hardcore. It was the AFI song, the Living Song Part 2. And
Yeah,
you see this guy preparing themselves. I always love the scene when the guys cross with the pants, the X's, and then they start mushing and say, oh, that's cool. And then from there, you just go and looking forward, and there's a Hatebreed videos. There was all the videos of Nueva Etica from South America, where they were like showing these huge masses pushing pogos, stage diving. Stage diving was something new for me, and then it started to do this kind of let's call it, it's as it called violent dancing, man. Yeah. So this is my approach to that. What is your?
I just try to remember how I got into it. I remember I went to a Cataract show because I was still just listening to metal and stuff, you know, but Cataract was already really the living on the fine line between metal and hardcore. And they, I mean, if you ever have the chance to check out Cataract, they're not existing anymore, but their stuff is still on Spotify. Check Cataract out. It's really good metalcore. But I remember being totally drunk back then, nowhere near being etched and stuff like that. And I remember just the one guy doing like spinning jump kicks and flick flacks and all that stuff. And I was like, dude, that stuff is wild. And I was like blown away because, yeah, I was a metalhead. The top peak of moving at the show was poking or maybe banging your head around, head banging. And so that was wild and new to me. And then I had we were like a group of friends. We were all listening to metal, and they were like kind of transitioning from listening to metal to hardcore. And yeah, like it's just a group thing. You went along with it, and yeah, then you started going to other shows. Then we went to small shows like in Zurich, where like a lot of people were moshing. It was totally common thing to do, and that was something totally new for me because I never saw people interact with music like that. I mean, what you have to say about violent dancing and moshing, it fits the music, you know. It's like when you see people dance to salsa music, it fits the music. And it's the same with hardcore and mosh and stuff. It's just fitting. So yeah, I went straight away, then started moshing because I was like, when I was really young, I did a lot of kung fu. So I still knew how to kick around and stuff like that.
Nice.
You know, it was still, and I was still pretty flexible back then. And so it was a lot of fun. And I got into it right away. But for the people that just know the moshing from today, the moshing before was you went after each other in the mosh pit mostly. It was like a circle, you know? And everyone was just showing off their moves. It wasn't like today, total chaos and stuff. Yeah, that was really like more civilized, I guess.
Or more like just kind of breakdance battles in
Yeah,
some ways. Because I remember people I remember pushing, you know, you see your friends willing to go and do some motion, so you push aside the people around you.
Yeah.
And Oh yeah, you prepare the space, so yeah,
Hmm.
the guy can show what he can do. It was
Yeah.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, yeah, like you said, it was more like break dancing. Everyone was just showing the new moves and everything. And yeah, that's how I got into hardcore dancing and moshing.
Hmm.
Mostly like that.
Yes, as you said, it fits to the music. There is some track, I
Mhm.
think, from the last 15 years that are just seems to be made for do that. And
Yeah.
I came from the punk rock scene. And I went to treat my let's say my trip started really with punk rock and then go in always heavier and heavier music. And so I was used to just to pogo, get in, you push the other one, you did,
Mhm.
and it was like the next level. I was also attracted to all these kung fu, karate. I don't know to
Yeah.
describe, yeah, crazy things. And there is also some kind of typical, really old school move, I would call it right now,
Yeah.
like those you see in this video of Siko Fito when
Mm.
they show all the styles connected to the two step, because I think two step is kind of the base. Like I like do it like as warm up and then it goes really
Yeah.
wild. But and there was like, it wasn't just scream and shout. It was like slowly you recognize there was like a school or like a path. There is something. Oh, this guy's
Mhm.
doing this guy's doing that. And it was really really cool because also create like a subculture into a subculture, like
Yeah.
when we met at the concert, we knew, okay, for this specific band, we both knew which song would be like fits for a great
Yeah.
wall of that, or then just moshing and everything. It was great.
Yeah. Absolutely. I see it like that too. It was just like, if you just look at a video of people moshing, you ask yourself, what the fuck are they doing? I mean, I get it. I mean, you have to see it in context, you know, and you have to realize hardcore is really music that is all about frustration and obstacles in life and stuff. So it fitted the age too, you were like 18, 19, you were
Mhm.
frustrating with life because you start to realize as soon as you hit nearly your 20s that a lot of life sucks. And it's really frustrating because of all the systems and structures we have, and everything is just about money and stuff. I mean, you see it in hardcore these days too. And yeah, it was just like having that place for letting some steam off all about the frustrations you have in your family, in society, and globally. It was just nice to be there and give that letting off some steam, giving it an expression, and this was hard
Mhm.
moshing. And you know it. If you get hit by someone, you shake hand. It's all okay. And because we are all there for the same reasons, moshing is helping us through another 2 or 3 weeks,
Mhm.
because yeah, life is frustrating at a lot of points, not most points, but a lot of points.
But then let's be honest. I mean, we are all grown up, but I mean, even at that time, is for some reason you also understood that it was better like let all the frustration or negative shit in that situation, good
Mhm.
music, friendship, let go sweat and tears, some blood sometimes, and
Yeah,
beside maybe go on the street and having really other kind of brawls or fight that could be like
absolutely.
definitely other kind of consequences, because it's not, I wouldn't say that it's justified violence,
Yeah.
but I would say that to me I always think that like, okay, if you have to do something, do it there, it's that's the right moment. It's
Mhm.
And once again, it's not because it's your age, but it's also you're not alone there.
Yeah,
That's also,
absolutely. And like you said, it's better than just go like a lot of young people that beat someone up in the street because they're frustrated with life and don't know how to manage it. This was our way to manage it in a space where people understood, not everyone was okay with it. I mean, you always had those big discussions about how to mosh and blah blah.
of course.
Um, but still, you were around a lot of people that shared your frustration and your pain and know how you get there, and so it was okay there. Like, yeah, accidentally you sometimes like get yeah, get a fist to your face. I mean, it happened to me too, and I had a broken nose, but you shake hands and we're like, okay, happens.
Yeah, that's it. I
We all,
remember at the end of the concert, before you go home, there and there, I was, hey, see you next time. Oh, nice to
yeah,
see you again. I mean, it wasn't really just go home out and pissed off. You were
yeah,
really
yeah,
okay. That we are there for one reason. We know what happened to concert. You accept the risk, staying maybe in the front or like
yeah.
staying. You know what's going on. And this is also something that sometimes surprised me a lot when I go nowadays to concert. That people really starting shaking heads and say, oh, that's not possible. Man, it's always been like this is the hardcore scene. And I thought that I would bring out this point later on this episode, but I think it fits also right now. It's the fact this is the hardcore scene, man. I mean, this is something that is not that it grow up like now it's violent, it's rough because it's young, and it has to become mature, equal,
Mm,
and an happy place for everybody. This is the hardcore scene. This is it. You
yeah.
know, I mean, and that means accept the situation how it is. And now I'm talking mostly from the prospect aspect from like of dancing, violent dancing, crowd killing, and everything,
Mm,
because then we could open big doors of
yeah, yeah.
others topic that is not correct or is not right. But now we are focused on this, and as we said right now, behave like right, like for the concert, but in the end we were all shaking hands.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I just wrote on on the Instagram page of the podcast, asking to some fan, "Hey guys, we're gonna discuss about violent dancing and motion. There is any topics that would you like we brings on the table?" And I think the most request was crowd killing.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Would you give a definition for the audience who don't know what this crowd killing is?
Ooh, crowd killing is a hard terminus because a lot of people define it otherwise, but just crowd killing just means if you are on the edge of the pit, you're not safe, mostly. I mean, it happened to me that I got kicked and a fist was thrown at me, but I was like, okay. And I did it too, it's a give and take. But yeah, it's just basically everyone is a target mostly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't describe it much more. It sounds hostile, but it's not as hostile as it sounds. It's mostly like, yeah, it's possible that somebody kicks in your direction, but it's never in a bad manner.
Or intentional, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, exactly, intentional. And so, I mean, if you are at the edge of the pit, you just need to be careful. That's it. And it always matters with what expectations you come to that show. If you expect like, hey, I want a chill day, I want to just enjoy the music, I don't want to get involved in anything, just stand in the back and it's all okay.
mm-hmm.
We have enough people that are circling the pit edge always just for that. I mean, if I see a kid is always moshing in the kind of corner because it's just his line of moshing, I will step in there just because I know I can take it
Mm-hmm.
you know and so there's no like tensions building up. But yeah, mostly crowd killing is just a little like yeah, like the name is, it's just you are not safe if people start to fist into a corner or into the edge or just start kicking at people. But yeah, it's never bad or as you said, intentional.
Yeah, I think that many people are scared because, of course,
Mhm.
in through the concert, you are distracted from music, loud noises, light shows, and suddenly you see somebody coming to direction.
Mhm.
Like it's like a Rolling Stone. And I get it. I'm the first one that sometimes gets scared from that. But
Mhm.
honestly, in my experience, I never really witnessed, somebody just go through and kick the hell out of somebody, like because he want targeting somebody. I personally, when I crowd killing or when I mosh more hard, I would using maybe a better term.
Mhm.
Of course, I try not to keep my fist closed. Like I know that maybe I just it's up, but I go with this movement. But
Yeah.
it's like that I don't really want to, But in some ways, I said, "Fuck it, this is moshing. We are." we are on a concert, you know,
Mhm.
I guess I can be it, but of course I don't know, I'm just still always in between, you know, like I like to go for it, but at the same times I kind of aware of what's going on, you
Yeah.
know, and this is maybe something that some people have to keep in mind. But starting right now, watching a lot of social media content. It seems to be like the hot topic of the last month. What's going on in between crowd, you know, like moshing and violent dancing, respect and all kind. I mean, it's social media, so it's a mix of feelings and colors, and it's
Yeah.
always not so I always say it's not in balance. It's not an open dialogue, but
It's not
really,
objective, you know, it's
yeah,
always subjective with you said a lot of emotions.
of course. And honestly, once again, it seems like they try to make hardcore scene look bad in some ways,
Mhm.
and but once again, this is hardcore, you know. It's like watching an MMA fight and expecting that the guys s- just hug like nothing in the middle of the fight,
Yeah.
you know, like dude, you are there for one reason. This is it. And
Yeah. The whole social media thing you're talking about, you know, people discussing how it's okay to mosh and what's not okay and stuff like that. The whole discussion has been for like 30 years, you know. It's always happened like, yeah, the old days, nobody was crowd killing. And then you look the old guerrilla warfare videos, you know, that mosh clips all cut together and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were always hard moshing. They were always hitting people in the crowd because everyone knew it. Everyone got with that expectation of getting hit, probably.
Hmm.
And it's okay because that happens. And the whole thing about now with TikTok and the whole discussion about it, and also before with Instagram and Facebook, it just gets blown much more out of proportion now because you know you have like more the discussion is much more widespread and people it's always the same arguments like for the last since I have been to shows there's always that dude that tells you yeah if I would have been there I would have dropped him in the pit and there shut the fuck up you're not doing anything you know it's
Hmm.
always the same so yeah, the discussion is just now available to a much wider audience, but I guess the whole discussion always stayed the same. So in my opinion.
Hmm. Tell me, you have I saw through your social that you have been out in the States, and
Mhm.
have you been also to many show there? I mean, can you tell us like a difference in between audience or the way people experience hardcore shows between Europe and the States?
Mhm. I've been to the US twice, once in 2019 and once last year. I was both times at two shows. Like in 2019, there was like this festival of our one of our chapters that was organized and it was really, really big with a lot of cool bands. And it was hard mosh all the way through. You see a lot of videos where I get beaten to bits by friends, and but it's all okay. I like the first time I went moshing there, I hurt my foot so bad, and I had like such a swollen ankle afterwards. So yeah, it happens. But they mosh really hard, you know. And then I went to a second show in 2019 that was with Sergio Fury was playing. You know, from Sergio Fury from Belgium was just playing in the US, and I was like
Hmm.
totally surprised. What the fuck is happening? And they were playing with CDC,
Hmm.
and it was hard. I mean, I saw guys from our crew that were like in their 40s, they were like going moshing like they don't care about tomorrow. Like, you know, here, if you break your ankle, your injury pays, nobody cares really, you know. But there, if you mosh too hard, like Malevolent said it, you have to sell your house to pay the bills, you know. But
Yes.
they don't care at all.
Hmm.
And that was a really cool experience. And then I went to last year two shows. One was in a basement. It was a Halloween show. That was wild. It was like the typical American show that you would expect. There were like 40 or 30 people in that little tight basement, and they were just going at it. But it was cool. It was a cool house show, you know, and then we were just chilling in the house and in the garden. It was really that kind of vibe you always just see from music videos, and being there, it's exactly the same as you imagine, you know.
Yeah.
And then I went to a Hatebreed show with a Body Snatcher, and
Oh.
that was a totally different crowd, because if you go to a Hatebreed show here, it's most like the people from the countryside are coming, and like the old school hardcore dudes. And there it was more like the gym bros and the old school hardcore dudes. They were
Oh.
like that really buff guys. And I just remember I was just, you know, moshing because Body Snatcher was really awesome. And Hatebreed was so cool, just playing old songs that go really hard. And I just remember that one kid that wanted just to mosh like a little guy. And that gym bro like took him in a chokehold, and a friend of mine saw it, and he was like, oh no way, leave that kid alone." And he just straight, yeah, knocked him out because he was afraid for the kid with one punch, and the guy just dropped down, and it was all good. Nobody cared. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like Americans don't care. It's just the best way to describe it. They don't care at all. They mosh like there's no tomorrow. And here,
Okay.
it's more like people try to take care of each other. Like when I go to a show here in Switzerland, I'm trying to read the room, you know, how hard
Oh,
can I
yeah.
mosh without there's too much tension building up? And I try to adjust myself. But yeah, uh, totally different, not to compare at all.
Yeah, about Hatebreed, I was listening to the podcast of Jimmy Jasta, and he was telling me the difference between Europe and States and everything. But once again, he was telling about the kind of audience that listen to Hatebreed, because he was saying it's not just hardcore dudes; it's also metalheads.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that they can, combine so much kind of audience. Like it's like this is, oh, you like that sound? Let's go and listen to Hatebreed.
Yeah.
But he was also saying, oh, like when they come to Hellfest or this kind of big summer events, he say, it's incredible, the passion, the enthusiasm that people put in a circle pit and everything. And he was also saying that he saw less violent dancing in Europe than maybe what you see in US concerts. I remember being in Soulturn for Hatebreed, and honestly, I wasn't moshing hard, but coming from the hardcore scene,
Yeah.
sometimes you stay in the front. You, of course, you push because you want to sing along, or
Yeah.
you open left and right. Just
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, but I won't justify myself. I was kicking.
Yeah.
I'm honest. I was
Yeah.
so excited from the sound, and somebody called the security on me. Really. And the
Damn.
security guy, I think he was an inexpert. I mean, not used to concert.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it comes a bunch of people that I didn't know. And they would say, no, man, it's okay. It's right. This is an hardcore concert. I mean, and in some ways, as you said, if you're feel not sure, or you don't know really the rules, it's a process to learn. Okay, you stay in the front row, you get kicked, you get maybe pushed a lot, and it is something that sometimes I don't get it, because even I was on a Pennywise concert here in Basel, and there was a lot of enthusiasm, and there it was really just moshing and maybe a little bit stage timing, but it wasn't so good. But at the same time, so people wanted to go forward and sing along. You can imagine when they play Brohim, man.
Yeah.
So, and even in that situation, I saw three young guys that were in between fascinated and scared,
Yeah.
but they felt like, okay, we understand. Other that were just looking around you and say, come on, dude, it's a concert. Yeah, you say it's a concert,
Yeah.
it's punk rock. It's as I always have to be, like, and um I don't want to talk like an old man, remember the good old days. But I still think that this is what makes the hardcore scene interesting. This one makes the hardcore scene live. And here comes the topic about social media related. It's about having hardcore bands like Knock Loose that are playing like to festival like Coachella, And for those who don't know, Coachella is a huge festival. I think it's California,
Yeah.
and most of the artists are contemporary pop, trap, and making play like a hardcore band like this one. It was quite a surprise. It was also surprising.
Yeah.
There was no railing. There was people stage diving. It's like somebody thought good that
Yeah.
event. And shout out to the stage manager of Coachella who managed this concert, because
Yeah,
doing that for
absolutely.
job, I know what's are the risks, what you need to think, of course, for the safety of everybody in the end. But there they just go hard.
Yeah.
And from that one, I think, of course, knock loose, now jump on the TikTok wagon. And there's a lot of video with their this, I don't remember the song honestly, but it's kind of the harf harf song. So like,
The one with all my friends are dead.
yeah,
I know.
zombie, but and like, and I was reading the comments, and it was, once again, it was open fire on
Yeah.
everything. And there was I show you before the video of that girl that I think she did an amazing job to interpretate
Yeah.
movement and feelings. Don't get me wrong, shout out to this dancer, but at the same times, when things land off social media, you don't really know where they're gonna land,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's cool because it's more dancey, or it's more dance, it's more empirical interpretation. But
Yeah.
when somebody's sweaty is doing that through the show, really kick and screaming, oh no, that's violent, we don't want that. So
Yeah.
I was thinking about where it's gonna be then the balance in between. There was a lot of comment, of course, of people say, "Oh, I'm 30 years in the scene. Maybe I should have get keeping more." Like I mean, this is classical social media
Yeah.
comments. You don't even know if you're really serious.
Mm.
How many times I wanted to write some troll comments, but
Yeah.
I didn't do it because I know that then things come around badly. But it was interesting to see that. And as we were saying, the results of this video of the German band Nasty,
Mhm.
when they put also this kind of street dance into the videos, creating another kind of atmosphere and everything. Totally fine with that, totally open. But of course, when we see nowadays what kind of influence have social media on young generation, but also on us,
Mhm.
I mean, then that's the question. That's one of the question that come up open to me,
Yeah.
because I believe in the hardcore scene. I believe in the music scene. I'm blessed enough to say it's 10 years that I work in the music business, and it's not a surviving. It's really living with that, and so I really want to get it to understand it. That's why we are
Yeah.
sitting, me and you, after almost 20 years of friendship, because say, man, we still here, and I want to connect even more with that word. Mommies wasn't just a phase. Let's
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. I don't know if it will have its place in hardcore, like on a show, but I mean, most of those people that try like to express themselves on TikTok with knocked loose and stuff like that, dancing, interpreting it, that's all fine. I mean, why not? I mean, hardcore is a really bright and wide spectrum. Um, so why not trying something new and creative, But the hardcore show at the end will still be a hardcore show, I guess, because that hardcore music is nice to listen on Spotify and stuff like that, but hardcore music lives really at shows. And when you realize the whole energy that gets transported and stuff, when you feel that itch, for me, it's always like I start to get tunnel vision at some point, really, because when I can really let myself go with the music, I want to get angry. I want to get off frustration. It not always happening, but when it happens, I really go for it.
Mhm.
And that's for a lot of people, they are hard and nasty riffs, and that's what the tone sets. And when you're there and you get hit by that really nasty riff, and okay, it's time to let off some steam, and you just start kicking and stuff, that will never go away. I don't
Yeah.
believe that. I mean, hardcore is always already changing. It was a really small scene before. Now you have Impericon and stuff like that, that is really opening a market for bands, selling merch for hardcore on a wider spectrum than like you before. If you wanted to get a shirt, mostly the only place you could wear at the show
Yeah,
and
or
nowhere
contact
else.
the band directly and gonna send it home
Exactly,
without a
exactly.
big cartel
On
or
MySpace.
all right, man.
Yeah.
I remember buying the first merch of Rise of the North Star, and it
Mhm.
was really something. DM the band, give
Yeah.
me the size, and this is it. Like
Or the label, it was like Seventh Dagger back then in Reno, from all the bands there. You were just like hitting up all your friends. Hey, the custom costs is gonna be insane, so we're gonna try to get 10 people
yes,
together to order shirts and stuff because otherwise we can't afford it. Yeah, and now it's just I think hardcore in its core will always stay hard and it will stay brutal, and you can't get that away
yeah,
because it's like deep embedded into the scene and the sense of the scene itself. As said, like you said before, I don't want to sound like an old fart. I don't want to gatekeep people from hardcore. I sometimes dance funny at shows too. But when that nasty breakdown hits, then I'm gonna go hard.
yeah.
And
You see this video of people doing Macarena on grooves or like on Slipknot
yeah,
song. It's okay, it's
it's
fun,
funny. Yeah, yeah,
but attention, don't expect going to the concert that
exactly.
everybody's gonna be like this.
Yeah, exactly. Mm, I mean, hardcore is tough, and hardcore can be also hard and a little violent. But that's the whole vibe of hardcore actually.
Hmm.
Go there, get off some steam. After the show you will be all tired, but you will feel like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders because you got all
Yes.
that stress and frustrations gone. And that's not the same like if you dance like really artsy to it. It's fun, but it's not gonna get you that feeling that really frustrated people have in this scene.
Yeah. And of course, one of the best feelings is share this with your friends. I remember travel at the time I was living in the south of Switzerland and we traveled these 2 hours to Zurich.
Mm,
And I knew that I'll see you and the other guys from that time, this DLC crew, like for me, it was really an happy moment because, okay, we are there, we're gonna be at the concert, we're gonna see each other and it's amazing. And about friendship and crew, yeah, can we talk a little bit about what maybe some people here coming to this concert here in Switzerland? I've seen
mhm,
some guys wearing sorry, um, badges and clothes
mhm,
with the number 59 and some words and everything. So what's going on there? I mean, maybe they also notice that they're
mhm,
really present also in the violent dancing scene
mhm,
and everything. And so what's going on? What's going
mhm,
on? Let's explain for people who maybe just seen this kind of dynamics or people don't know anything. What's going on
mhm.
there?
A friend of mine once explained it very well. Like hardcore is the sport football, and there are like a lot of teams on it, and that's like crews. Crews are like teams of hardcore. So when I came into the hardcore scene, I really got confronted straight away with straight edge, and I was struggling a little with alcohol and stuff like that. I I had a tendency to get addicted, I felt like. So I knew I had to set hard boundaries for myself, and I found straight edge for that. And
Mhm.
that gave me that hard boundaries that I said, okay, I don't want to drink, I don't want to smoke, I don't want to do drugs anymore. I want to get like control back to my life. So of course, like that, like you said, the big sign of straight edge is the big X on its hands way back then. It was just usual to do that. And that's like you found other edgers and stuff like that. And like 2008, we were like 10 edgers we knew each other all, and we were like hanging around, and we came back from a show and we were like talking like let's start a hardcore crew. Like we got each other's backs because we know these people that don't get hardcore and come to the shows and start to like um get into a fight because people mosh hard. We need to take care of us a little because that happened. And so we formed the DLC, which stands for Different Life Crew. We were like a solid straight edge crew. We had a lot of vegans too there. And I went shortly after joining DLC, I went vegan too. And that's like how it all started. You know all the guys, like they were happy, Sergey and Marcel and everyone. We were just always the guys going to shows, and we moshed hard, and we knew sometimes that can go wrong, but we were like too young to realize how to change that. We were like, yeah, we want to mosh hard, we don't give a shit. That's mostly that was how it happened. And then at one point, a friend of mine went to Germany to hang out with some people, and they were part of the SOSF. And they came back and like, yeah, we talked with them, like we have the opportunity to bring the SOSF to Switzerland. And back then we were like 20 DLC guys. We were like 20, and everyone got the chance to join DLC. But the thing you had to change about yourself then is like we were like hardcore militants. Like we were just hanging around with edgers, so we don't give a shit of people that were drinking and stuff. And there we would be confronted again with people that drink, that also take drugs. But like the big picture thing about SOSF was always supporting hardcore, organizing shows, getting our bands to play shows in different cities, and take care of accommodations like sleeping places and stuff like that. Just giving people a good time there, and give people a chance to express themselves at that shows like we used to, like we were much younger back then. So that was the point for me that sold me SOSF. And yeah, it was just like that, giving something back to hardcore, because until then I was mostly taking. I didn't care about doing shows. I went there, with my friends, and we fucked up shows, badly said, and that was like giving something back. So we joined. Not everyone of DLC joined SOSF, but a lot. And that's how it all started. I mean, the SOSF was like formed in the US by Simone Robb, which, the US is like Europe on steroids. They have crews too, but they are much more violent, because deep in their cultural thing, violence is much more embedded than ours. So they formed the SOSF because of the other crews, because like if you didn't have people that had your back, you could get in trouble easily.
Yeah.
So it was like protecting them or themselves, and still taking that part of getting people around, getting bands around, organizing shows. And that's how we grew and grew. And at one point they tried, like you said, the vests with the badges on, which gives us like for most people, they see it like an MC vibe, but we are no MC at all. We are no motorcycle club at all. But we are just solemnly here for hardcore, and the skull, our logo, just represents all our values. Like it's like always, we are like one big family. We take care of each other. We have respect for each other. We stand with each other. And also it's a sign for Nazis to fuck off of our scene, because we always had that problem that Nazis tried to like invade the hardcore scene a little. It was like back in 2009, 2010, they tried, and before they tried. And yeah, it's just like, if we see Nazis, we will ask them to leave. If they don't want to leave, we make them leave. And that's all what this SOSF mostly stands for.
That's interesting a lot, because as I said in the beginning, I saw many people coming to the show, being part of this crew, but as I asked you before, it's kind of Fight Club, where the first rule is not talk about the Fight Club, but then you've always been so kind to me and explaining every time a little bit more, and now we're talking openly about that. It's interesting because I get it really. I mean, I got this with the straight edge. I always love the straight edge. I got many people questioning why you don't drink, or how it's about feeling and relation. They always think that straight edge are like Christian, that they don't have relations or sex before marriage. And I say, guys, it's something that you need to feel in you also, yeah. To me, it was just feeling right for me, and how I wanted to live my life. And it brings me to so many friendships. Some of them are really brothers for me, like blood brother. And I can imagine also this idea of having this in the hardcore scene as a more active. And I like the idea of you organizing concert. I got this friend of mine in Paris. Shout out to Jamal Weiss. He's a rapper and he's member of Los Babas.
Yeah, the
And
Los Babas are great guys too, like the guys from Harlequin in Germany and stuff. Shout out to Los Babas.
and yeah, and he also, he also showed me what they were doing. I love the fact that in some music video, it's not just about that, but sometimes you see the symbol or you see this as just I like these things about, okay, there is this connection, or we have this idea of mentality of this and that, because once again, the words we are living in right now, in the way is try to be open to much everything. It also allow other things to be accepted. And there is some ways when you're honest, I need to talk about it. I think one of the most things I can't really be open to talk, like, oh no, maybe you're right, is about radical mentality, like neo-Nazi or something like this. For I got my ideas and my principle, and I think that there's some situation where are not allowed or not good at all. And sometimes also as colored person here in Europe, in Switzerland, I like the idea to see that there is somebody who is not just saying, oh, I'm against that. I don't agree with that, but also show like this kind of support. And in the beginning, as I said, I was really, really insecure about what was going on. I was thinking that it was some kind of motorcycles club or something like this. And then I don't know. I think this is part of my way to live. I just went out and asked,
Yeah.
And of course, some of you looks like really, really tough guy, and I think this is in some ways also fascinating.
Yeah.
This is. I think it belongs to, it's not about, but in the end, you can, if you out there, if you go to a show, guys, somebody who's listened to this episode, if I think in the hardcore scene, the nice thing is that you can always approach somebody and ask something,
Yeah.
and sorry, do
I
you want?
think, yeah, just you're absolutely right. That's, I guess, the biggest problem, I know it looks a little intimidating, like 10 people with that fucking skull on their back and stuff like that, but we're mostly nice guys, We know how it looks like, that it can be intimidating, but I have no trouble explaining it to people. Like you said, you asked me to what it's all about, what does it mean and stuff, and we openly talked about it. And like for everyone that is intimidated by it, don't worry about it. Just go ask the people, because it's not like we are some secretive club or anything. We will tell you what we're all about, what our values are, what rules we do have. And this is just puts further the whole rumors that are around, I mean, I have to say, when we were in DLC back then, we were dicks. As straight up, we were dicks, and we were really arrogant young kids that had no plan how the world works and stuff like that. And yeah, I know that our reputation from back then transformed onto the SOSF, obviously, because like we were the same people, just with different colors. But still, like we matured too. We are no dickheads anymore. A lot of people have gone from the old crew. Some people joined and stuff like that. And I get that people get intimidated, but still, just hit us up if you want to know anything. We don't bite. And if you want to know stuff about SOSF, we're gonna talk about it as far as it's possible. So just approach us.
Yeah, this is one that's, um, I can now talk from my personal experience. First concert I went, I guess we have this mutual friend, this Leo. I remember he was always been one of the most active people in the moshpit. It's kind of big guys and everything,
Yeah.
but one of the most interesting kind and very intelligent person I ever met on the music scene. And I can only talk also from the experience with some bands I'm on tour with, and in the audience sometimes you see and say, wait, I know what are the the idea behind the song of this band, but why this guy's wearing these kind of symbols, or why it isn't. And honestly, I just go straight and I ask, you know,
Yeah.
because I'm really curious, but at the same time, I want to be in some way sure, you know, like as you said, you want to keep a safe
Yeah.
space. I mean, let's say it's kind of controlled chaos, because you have all these violent and pushing dancing, stage diving people falling from the sky and everything.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important communicate and show it. But at the same time, in the end, now I'm really glad that we get into deep a little bit more what's going on and what doesn't mean being part of a crew. But at the same times, in the end, I would say this is hardcore. This is the scene.
Yeah.
This is what makes the scene unique, you know. And I don't know. It's something that really, when I think about what I witnesses and what I see and how I lived every live show, I'm always fascinating how all these different kind of attitudes and mentalities, and in the end, as we said before, we are there just to let some frustration and bad times, and of course enjoying the music, because it's supporting. I really love the fact that you as crew also organize a lot of events, and you try really to organize and make bands comfortable to be there, and having a good time for people willing to witness the show. So this is important, because in the end, how many people I've heard, they wanted to organize something, and after a while, oh, they just don't do anything, or just do once and then stop it because it's too intensive. It asks you time, energy, and money, and in the end, look who is behind everything, you know, like just be honest, just to be honest, you know, like. But I think that this topic about hardcore, metalcore, the scene and violence, I think there will always be. You know, I don't think there's gonna be something that suddenly is gonna disappear, because this is in some way it's from where it come from. It's of course it's a release of this energy, release of this anger. I mean, I don't want to start, you know, doing like history of punk or
Yeah.
rebellion into music, but it belongs to you. That's it. And of course, something that sometimes is strange to me nowadays, see that in the front row, everybody are keeping their phone in their hands. And so when somebody start to mosh, they're just maybe pissed off because there's the risk to lose the phone or something like this. But I have to be honest, I don't care. I'm at the show to enjoy the show, you know?
Yeah. But I feel that too, because I'm always fascinated, like, doesn't matter what kind of show, if it's hardcore or something else, people are always like pulling out their phones, recording or live streaming and stuff. And I know that people want to share their experience with, I get that. But still, at the same time, you are there to experience it yourself, and like doing it through a phone. Um, it's like that kills for me that purpose of experiencing something like firsthand, you know. So I don't get, so now I sound like an old fart, you know, but still, I personally don't get it. I don't want to like gatekeep hardcore like that and say, yeah, don't pull out your phone, enjoy the show, do it as you please, but don't get pissed off if I knock your phone out of your hands because you were standing somewhere just to have a cool angle on the stage, because this is a hardcore show. You got to be aware of your surroundings, otherwise it can get really bad. And I'm talking from experience. I mean, I had four surgeries because of hardcore. You know, I I fucked up my knee, I fucked up my arm, I broke it. I had a broken nose and a broken cheekbone and a swollen eye from one huge ass fist. And we shook hands after it. But still, as I said, just be aware of your surroundings. If you want to pull out your phone and experience like that, do that. But don't get mad if you get your phone knocked off your hand. I would tell you, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't care. Like you said, because this is hardcore.
I
If that
remember,
happens.
you know, it happens to be in a concert in the South, and there is some friends. It was more location, you know, it was just two friends starting moshing or pushing around just like pogos. The band was also playing some kind of metalcore. And there was this guy in the middle of the crowd, like with this posture, like a cop's like posture,
Yeah.
like, and then in the end, it comes out, it was really a cop.
Oh,
And
really?
because the band was made of other colleagues of him. And
Oh, really?
yeah, that was crazy, because I was thinking, dude, you're lucky. And really, I was thinking like about you, because thinking of you, because I was thinking, man, if you would be like in a concert in Zurich like this, and you act like this,
You have to expect that you
you need to
accidentally hit.
expect, because
Yeah.
you look at those friends of mine, like what you doing, this is my spot, like with this
Yeah.
arrogance. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I recognize that miles of distance, and that was crazy. But once again, why we talk about this, because there is this always this idea of action reaction, of course,
Absolutely.
everybody, as we said before, we want everybody just be there, enjoy the moment. But if somebody want to stay, enjoy the concert, because you like listen to the song on Cities Band Live, that in the front row, and then almost behind that you have the moshpit. But after that, you have the chance to listen to, even better in some concert hall, the
Yeah.
concert, and enjoying the show and everything. uh but I don't think that is also like talking like an whole guy, because um it's just that I was so happy in the way I discover and I get into the hardcore scene and the hardcore
Mm.
music, that and at that time I didn't have a smartphone.
Yeah.
That in some ways I would like those people also to discover that, no
Mm.
social media told me you go to that concert. It was the whole brother of a friend of mine that one
Yeah.
day said, "Oh, I pick you, everybody, and we go to that concert in Lugano." There was this
Yeah.
experience, this human experience, hardcore. It's made by humans. Why there is this violence sometimes? Because this is human feelings. There are people, real people playing, and in the
Yeah.
audience you have real people with different situations, state of minds, and but yeah, I think, of course, I don't want to compare it with the hardcore scene maybe that we find in the States, because
Mm.
it, as you said, there is some kind of different. We're talking about for the audience that is are listening to from Switzerland or from Europe,
Mm.
just you go to the concert, you enjoy it, and you see that even if you stay behind and you look at the concert, you listen to the concert, and you got this feeling, you are happy to be there, you feel the music through the bones. And
Mm.
for some people, maybe more like me and you, it's just like to be there and start running and start doing some cartwheel
Yeah.
and kick left and right. And once again, motion violence, I think for me, it's one of the most interesting and fun things that you can witness to an hardcore concert.
Yeah. I think so too, because once you're hooked on it, every other show just standing there won't do it. I remember I went to hip hop shows too, and it's cool too, but it's not the same because hardcore really gets to me, when I remember when I was a couple of weeks ago, I was in a solo tour,
Mm-hmm.
to the album release of Deconvolution.
Mm-hmm.
And they have that song called Blood-Filled Trenches. For everyone, go check out Deconvolution and the song Blood-Filled Trenches. I have like two synapses. They just find together for that song and that really nasty riff in the beginning. And I just go, like I said before, I get that tunnel vision and I just know, okay, I need to move. Like, uh, I don't care about taking prisoners. I really go hard then, I kick on head height and stuff like that because I really want to express how much anger this song takes out of me and leaves me afterwards. After that, I'm like a little puppy. I'm all good. I'm happy and stuff like that. I'm not angry at all. And uh, this is just something that I've never seen in other shows. I mean, like I said, I've been to a lot of metal shows before, headbanging and stuff, and it was cool, but it's nowhere near being in a hardcore
Mm-hmm.
concert at all. So even also playing own hardcore shows, you know. I played one show with my project I had, and just seeing people go nuts to your music and kicking and running and screaming, it's just that you get that out of people is just such an amazing feeling.
Yeah, one thing inspired the others. If you're
Yeah,
on
exactly.
stage, if you're on the crowd, I mean, when the lead singer, tell you, "Come on, guys, let's open this motherfucking pit," or like this.
Last chance, last
Last
chance.
chance is the best one. Last chance is
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
that means gonna be gonna be wild.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, okay, that's my really last chance for this band. Let's 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 put our foot down, you know, just show what this is all really about. I remember the how when Nasty played with Dying Fetus. Um, you know, there's like that mixed crowd of metalheads and people that
Hmm.
want to mosh that don't understand it. It wasn't violent pretty much because everyone was the ones that moshed hard, but it was not like a crowd killing and stuff like that. But this is just, you know, they are really worlds are colliding because they don't get it, and you are just in the moment being all happy and stuff like that. And it's just nothing like hardcore. If you've never been to a hardcore show and you really see one going on near a place you live or just are hanging out at, go to that show. Just try to catch that vibe, and you know it's really gonna stick to you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is always something that I ask to people, or I mean, I say to people when they ask me, "Oh, do you listen to that kind of music, that violent music?" Yeah, that's the cool part. But sometimes still you listen to a song on an album on the radio or on YouTube and you don't understand why it scream like this, it is, and then you have the chance to see this band playing live and you feel this energy,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
and that's justify everything. You understand everything why you like
yeah.
this music.
And also, like, if you don't get it from a super official point of view, just if you check out these bands where they're screaming, Google the lyrics and just try to understand what it's expressing, because it happens a lot through the hard, nasty riffs compared with the lyrics that really fit together. Like,
Hmm.
it's worked really for people that are struggling with things like mental health
Yeah.
or social economic problems, and the 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 problems our system of capitalism is generating for people, you know, not being able to have the same chance of someone being born in a better place, you know, in a better
Hmm.
family. And so all this frustration is really coming down there, and it gets concentrated in these songs, and it's just there to let it all go for that moment, to have some kind of peace of mind for a little while after a show.
Yes, amazing. Yeah, amazingly, because I'm also big fans of sing along, and sometimes,
Mm,
I just push and try to jump on the people in the front row to reach the microphone or to show
yeah.
that you want to sing along, and yes, it's just that feelings. That's the feeling, and I
Mm,
really appreciate that. Panda, I thank you very much. We are coming to the end of this episode, but I think that I thank you very much for your point of view, your insight into this topic that, as I said, it was also asked from a couple of fan of the podcast, discussing what is the violin dancing, what's the mosh, what's the meaning behind or the
mhm.
mentality. And thank you very much for introducing all the stuff to your crew. And so people out there, young boys and girls that are going to the show, don't hesitate. It's much as wild as you want. If you have any question, just connect with the people around you. Hardcore scene, it's full of different people, different mentalities, but I think there is always space to a kind dialogue or
Yeah.
sharing some opinion. And this is something that even for me almost at 37, I it has been really one of the most biggest lesson I had in my life, connecting with people, having good times at the concert and out. I even, and then later on, I even out of this scene. But yeah, it all started there. So don't get scared. Let your energy out. Enjoy good music. Enjoy good moshing. Panda, do you want to leave a message for the listener of the podcast?
For the people that are thinking that, yeah, hardcore is really intimidating and the people around moshing hard, they are intimidating. They were at the exact same point that you were. They just got over it, talked to people, tried to understand, got into them themselves. And I just like really want to give people the chance to go out there, just talk to people. It's really gonna like widen your horizon and helping you understand stuff more. And also, I just want to shout out to my boys in SOSF in Germany and in France and Belgium, in the States, and also in Japan. And if you want to really come to one of our shows that we organize, check out Crew Life Booking Europe on Instagram. We are posting all our shows there. And from there, if you need anything, if you want to come to a show and don't know how to connect, just reach out to us. We will help you to get you to the show and have a good time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, all the information and all many things we discuss in this episode will be like linked in the description of the episode. So you don't have to re-listen to this part to get your notes. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. It's always a pleasure to me. I took a break for this summer, but now I'm back. As I said, follow Music to Live For with Shanti on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. It's always a pleasure. And the same if you're following Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So this is always a small things, but it can help the channel to grow. And yeah, bringing you some insight from the music scene. They could be classical, hardcore, metal, rock, pop, and even hip hop, whatever. If you're an artist or a person that is into music business or into music and you want to share something, don't hesitate to contact me on my email address. Thank you very much, Panda, for your time. It's always a pleasure to see you and share some words with you. Guys,
Same.
see you to the next episode. Bye.